Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Friday show of Adamo Baseball, where I'm your host, Adamo. And so, as per usual, I'm going to be breaking down the previous week of Major League Baseball. As of what is today? Today is Friday the 23rd. So, I'm going to be breaking down baseball for this past week. So there weren't any ridiculous things that happened like there were last week or the week before. You know, there were no hitters, there weren't any cycles. There was a triple play. So Joey Votto pulled off this ridiculously crazy triple play. He caught a line drive. He was playing first base, so he caught a line drive, tagged the guy that was trying to make his way back to first base. He actually had to dive to tag him. And then after making the tag, got up and had the wherewithal to look over at third base and see a guy that was caught off the base, threw it to the third baseman, and they got the force out there because he didn't tag up. That is the one crazy play this week. There are two reasons I'm not using footage. One, I don't really know how to do that quite yet. And two, copyright purposes. So, yeah, I'm just talking about it. But that was the one crazy thing that happened this past week. Apart from that, there is one other notable thing, but I'm not there yet. So, as per usual, start with the American League East, and I got my tablet set up right here so that I can look over and not be like, no, it's right here. In first place, still, the Boston Red Sox. I know I'm wearing an Orioles jersey today, but, I just wanted to rock the Orioles jersey. So, yeah, the Red Sox are still my team, but they've actually only played 500 ball over the last week. Actually, so they split a 4-game series with the White Sox, and then they split a 2-game series with the White Sox. They lost the last game of the 4-game series with the Twins a week ago, and then last night they lost the first game of a 4-game series with Seattle Mariners, who are still playing surprisingly well. I gotta admit, I expected them to implode by now, but no, they're still doing pretty well. But more on them later. The Red Sox, they're still 12-8. They're still winning 3 out of every 5 games, which if you win 3 out of every 5 throughout the whole season, you did something right. Obviously, you go into every single series trying to win the series. But if you take 3 out of 5, you're going to win most series throughout the season. And they're leading the division by a game and a half. And their division chances as of right now are 23.5%, which is higher than I was going to give them to start the season. And to make the postseason, 51, which really it's a coin toss, but it depends on how they play, not just in April, but going through the rest of the year, as I've been emphasizing pretty much every single week. In second place, the Tampa Bay Rays. So they got off to a bit of a rough start, but they are starting to make up some of that slack. They're 10-9. Tyler Glasnow right now is making a legit case for American League Cy Young Award winner, because he actually has probably been the best pitcher in the American League. And that's saying something, because there are some good pitchers as of right now. I know, it's April, as I always emphasize, but at the same time, I've been impressed with Tyler Glasnow for a while. So, yeah, he's making a difference. Like, it matters that he is pitching that well. In third place, we got a tie. And frankly, I'm pleasantly surprised by one of these. The Baltimore Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays are still playing 500 ball. And so they haven't given up a lot of runs. Actually, they've only given up 64 through 18 games. That's a little over 3. That's not bad at all. Like, that's what you want out of your pitching staff. Their offense is still a bit sluggish. Bo Bichette is still flashing the leather. He's been doing pretty well. And Vlad Guerrero Jr. is doing Vlad Guerrero Jr. things. And that's a good thing. So, yeah. And then the Baltimore Orioles. John Means, I've definitely been a huge fan of his ever since he came to the league in 2019. Yeah. He's pitching like an all-star right now. He's got a 1.52 ERA through, I think, 3, maybe 4 starts by now. I think he's up to 4 now. If you lose a game and you got a 1.52 ERA, it's not your fault. And I don't think he has. Yeah, he really has been one of the best lefties in the league. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely happy to see him doing as well as he is. In last place. God, this brings me so much joy to say this. The New York Yankees at 7-11. Yes, their record is 7-11. Now, I'm not expecting this to remain this way the whole season, okay? Their offense has not been doing much at all. And frankly, Aaron Boone's had to have a conversation, a big talking to with Gleyber Torres for not hustling. Gio Urshela, I think, is out. I think he's hurt. And outside of Garrett Cole, they need pitching. It actually has hurt them. But their offense has not clicked. It's just not really there right now. So, yeah, that's why they're in last place. It's a matter of their offense getting going. So, yeah, the American League, all 5 teams are still within 4 games of each other. So, yeah, I don't expect this to remain the exact same way the whole season. Boston, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Toronto, New York. I don't expect that to be the standings the whole year. If it was, I have no problem with that. But, in fact, that'd make me really happy. But that is how it stands right now. The American League Central. In first place, still, surprisingly, the Kansas City Royals at 10-7. I don't know how, but they're still in first place in the division. They have a negative run differential of 6. Now, Salvador Perez has been playing like an all-star this year. He actually has been playing to his full potential. He is. And Whit Merrifield is still one of the best leadoff guys in baseball, and he has been playing like it at second base. So, yeah, they've got their players playing to their best level. I don't know how long it's going to last, though. They're up by a game and a half of the team in second place, the Chicago White Sox, at 9-9. So the White Sox did split the series with the Red Sox. And it feels like they're about to start making their move. Because, yeah, they got off to a sluggish start against pretty much everyone's anticipation. But yeah, I feel like they're making their move right now. Their offense is starting to click. Their pitching is definitely showing that it is there. They just hadn't really started off well yet. So yeah, I would definitely expect to see the White Sox start making up some ground. In third place, I don't expect this team to leave third place. The Cleveland Indians at 8-9. So the Indians, it's exactly as everyone expected. This is the one predictable team in the league. Amongst the best pitching in baseball, if not the best pitching in baseball. And their entire offense is pretty much Jose Ramirez. Now, Ahmed Rosario and Eddie Rosario specifically, he's been picking up a lot of the slack. He actually has been playing pretty well for the Indians. So, it's not just Jose Ramirez, because his batting average is actually not that good. Or at least it wasn't last I checked. It was like 213 or something. But Eddie Rosario actually has been picking up a lot of the slack. So, there is that. In fourth place, this is about where I expect this team to finish, though not ahead of the team that I think they will. The Detroit Tigers at 7-12. So, their initial burst onto the scene with like pure offense and whatnot, it really hasn't been as good. Casey Mize did get off to a really great start. The one game he pitched this week, he got wrecked. They went into Oakland and played a 3-game set, or I think they played in Oakland, and they got wrecked. The A's have been wrecking everybody, so there's that. But the Tigers really, they did not have a good series against the A's, and a lot of their problems derive from that fact. Though, if you take that one series out, they're actually playing pretty well. But it still happened, so you can't. And then last place in the AL Central, I don't expect this to remain this way for very long. At 6-11, the Minnesota Twins. They've been scoring lots of runs. They have. Their issue is that their pitching really hasn't caught up to it. Yeah, Jose Barrios is doing Jose Barrios things. Kenta Maeda has been more inconsistent, so that's kind of caught up with them. And then the rest of their rotation really hasn't picked up the slack, so that's where a lot of that comes from. They're also on a 4-game losing streak. They were playing 500 ball, but yeah, they're on a 4-game losing streak, and they lost 9 of their last 10. So it's real hard to stay on top of the division when you got those numbers. They started 5-2. They've won 1 game since. That was the last game against the Red Sox. So yeah, that's the American League Central. Kansas City up top, then the White Sox, then Cleveland, then Detroit, then Minnesota. I expect some shuffling probably in the next week or two with the AL Central. The AL West. So I have watched a little bit of this division here recently, and this is probably the most fun division to watch. I'm not making that up. This is a really fun division right now. We got a tie for first place. I can't even say they're going in opposite directions because Seattle, and Oakland. Seattle is still playing pretty well. Oakland, on the other hand, they're on an 11-game winning streak. I don't know how many people realize that right now, but they've won 11 straight. And they haven't just been winning, 1 and 2 run games, which they have. Most of the time, they've been blowing everybody out. They swept the Astros. They swept the Tigers. Who was it that they just swept again? But yeah, they just swept 3 straight series. And they're playing the Astros this weekend. So, yeah, Oakland they're scary right now. They're doing it with Minnesota. That's the other one. Yeah, they swept Houston, Detroit, and Minnesota. And they're playing Houston. No, they're not. No, Seattle's playing Houston this weekend. But the A's, they're scary right now. Like, they're scary good. Now, obviously, all good things come to an end, so it's only a matter of time before the streak ends. But hey, right now it's looking like they got a shot at breaking their own record of 20 wins or 20 straight wins. So, hey, more power to you. They're just fun to watch. Bear in mind they started 1-7. Yeah. Then Seattle. This is actually an interesting scenario. So I was watching one of the games they played against Houston, and I got to admit, James Dunn, the guy who picked up the win last night against the Red Sox, or did he pick up the? I don't think he picked up the win, but he held the Red Sox in check. He's actually really good. I didn't know that, but he's got a pretty wicked curveball. And he doesn't really overpower you either. That's the weird thing. Usually, pitchers try to overpower you. He doesn't do that. It's more psychological, and I like it. But yeah, they've won 7 of their last 10, and they've been in first place most of the season, actually. And again, they're 12-7. Now, here's the interesting part. They're scoring the majority of their runs in innings 6, 7, 8, and 9. They're having they're having to come back from behind in a lot of their games. So they're winning a lot of those 1 and 2 run games. A lot of them really aren't, like, they're not just blowing your doors off. Like, they're actually having to come back and win those games. So there's a lot of, I think it's going to come back to bite them, but they're showing a lot of resilience. And Mitch Haniger, if Seattle keeps this up, keep your eye on Mitch Haniger, because that dude, he's already earning all-star honors. Like, I know it's early, but I don't see him slowing down. He's got 5 home runs thus far, or 6 or 7 home runs now. He's both flashing the leather and he's hitting the ball real well. He's not just putting them out, like, he's getting legit hits, so keep your eye on him. In third place, the LA Angels. 9-8. It really is pitching. So yeah, they got a winning record, and they're scoring runs. But and look, apparently Mike Trout's OPS plus, which people are really emphasizing, is like better than double the league average. That's, I don't even know what to say about that. And yeah, he's having one of the best seasons he's had in his whole career, and that's saying something, because he's been one of the best players in baseball, or the best player in baseball, pretty much his entire career. And Shohei Ohtani is picking up a lot of the slack on, having it not just be Mike Trout. The problem is pitching. So Shohei, a consistent problem he's had throughout his career is blisters. Because he's a two-way player, he gets blisters fairly frequently. So he might be back in the lineup again, but that really is an issue that he may have to he may have to figure out something else, because that's becoming a problem for him. In fourth place, the Texas Rangers at 9-10. Honestly, I don't know how they won 9 games. Their bullpen's bad. Their pitching's bad. Their hitting's bad. Nathan Lowe is a bright spot. They got a legit Rookie of the Year candidate in him. I think he's a rookie, and if he is, then they got a legit candidate in him. But outside of that, there's really not much there. That's my personal opinion. Mar me if you want. And then in last place, which I have to admit, I'm surprised by this. Houston, 8-10. So they started by sweeping the A's. The following week, they got swept by the A's. If I'm not mistaken, Houston had a 7-game losing streak. They did not play well. They have not played well. Not recently. And it's really starting to show. Yeah, they're only 3.5 games out of first place, but at the same time, they're on the bottom of the division. They're in sole place of last in the American League West. Now, every team in the American League is within 4 games of first place. It's April. That's normal. You don't expect teams to be 12 games out at this point. So that's the one thing I really want to emphasize before I wrap up the American League. It's early. Everyone's within 4 games of one another. There's a lot of baseball to be played. Don't expect most of this to remain the way it is. I would love for the Red Sox to remain on top of the American League East the whole season. The Red Sox are not going to remain on top of the American League East the whole year, even if it's just switching between them and somebody else. Kansas City is not winning the AL Central. I'm sorry. It would be fun if they did. They've got the offensive players to do it. They just don't really have the pitching to do it. Oakland actually could win that division. They actually could do that, but don't expect Seattle to maintain their level of success. As fun as it is to watch them win, because, my first baseball game I ever saw was at Safeco Field. It's now called T-Mobile Park. Go figure. But, yeah, I don't expect that to hold up. I really don't. And that'll be the American League. And now, if you have any comments about the American League, go ahead and throw them down below. Or come over to my YouTube channel. Leave those comments down below. And now, time for the National League. And as per usual, I'm going to break down first the National League East. And it's been a while since I've seen this. In fact, the last time I saw something like this, yeah, it was later in the year, but that was 2006. The team leading the division is 500. The New York Mets are leading the National League East with a 7-7 record. They just lost 3 games straight. I don't know who they played, but they just lost 3 games straight. They've only played 14 games. They're not going to make up those games against the Nationals for a while. And I think I already broke that down. I think one of those games is in May, one of them is in July, and the other one's in August. So those are just going to be 3-4 game series that are going to make up that initial series that was lost because the Nationals had that COVID outbreak. I forgot to mention this earlier. Minnesota had a COVID outbreak as well. So they ended up losing some games this past weekend. And the game against Oakland, they were able to just delay it, and they were able to do a doubleheader. So, but yeah, I think this division is actually starting to level out closer to what it should be. The Mets are 7-7 on a 3-game skid. Then second place, also 500, but with more games played, the Phillies at 8-8. They're starting to level out a bit more because they could be a 500 team this year, though I don't necessarily think that they will. Like, the big story for them last year was that their bullpen was, like, historically bad. Again, 2020. That's why I don't base anything on that. But I think their bullpen's starting to come back down to earth. And yeah, they're really not winning on the road. They're 1-5 on the road. But honestly, I don't really know what else to say about Philly. In third place, we got a tie. The Atlanta Braves and the Miami Marlins. Okay, the Miami Marlins are just fun to watch. I don't even care what their final record is. I just love watching them, okay? Jazz Chisholm is playing really well, and he's living up to the name Jazz. I know I already talked about that, I want to say a week ago, but it's so much fun to be bragging about a guy named Jazz. I love it, okay? Miami is fun again, and they were fun last year when they made the playoffs. I think they were a 500 team. When they made the playoffs, they were the 6th seed. And yeah, it was fun to watch them play. And it's fun to watch them this year. Even if they don't make the playoffs, and they probably won't. But they're still so fun to watch. Jesus Aguilar is playing really well. I already brought up Jazz Chisholm. Their starting pitching, it's still in the works, like it's still developing, but it is going in the right direction. It really is. It is fun to watch them. And then the Atlanta Braves, I think I brought this up a week ago, that Ronald Acuna Jr. was essentially the entire Braves offense. After that, he went on the 10-day IL. So the Braves offense, while it looks good on paper, it's really not that great right now. Most of their stars are more or less just lagging behind. So they got a lot of catching up to do. And frankly, I don't know if they're going to. In last place in the NL East, Washington Nationals at 7-9. So they've won 4 of their last 6, which doesn't seem like much. But considering that they started 3-7, it really does go to show that they are going in the right direction. I was wrong about Max Scherzer. I thought that he wasn't pitching as well. Turns out it was just a bad opening day. But he has just lit it up since then. Like, he's proving that he is Max Scherzer. Steven Strasburg went on the IL. He's on the 10-day IL, but I don't think they expect him back for a while. And Patrick Corbin is starting to pitch like his old self. The game he had this past week, he actually pitched pretty well. I think that playing against St. Louis really helped them because they've played well, they played St. Louis pretty well. They've actually already won the season series against them. They only play 6 games against each other, and the Nats won 4 games to 2. So they're not going to see each other the rest of the year. And I think that, I think that really was what got the Nats going in the right direction, and I think that they're going to start building some momentum. Expect them to start moving up the NL East ladder. At least that's my thought. So, as I've done with every division thus far, this is how the division breaks down again. Mets, then Phillies, depending on how you want to look at it, then Braves and Marlins, then Nationals. They're all within 1 game of each other. All 5 are within 1 game. So, yeah, that's going to change probably within the next week. When I'm breaking down those teams again, I don't expect to say that. I really don't. I expect that to be different. The NL Central, this one's changed a bit. On top of the NL Central, the Milwaukee Brewers at 11-7. So their starting pitching has been phenomenal. Corbin Burns, he's actually been pitching like an all-star thus far. He's been doing really well. Josh Hader is, of course, doing Josh Hader things. As a team, through 18 games, they've given up 55 runs total. That's less than 3 runs per game. Not ERA, total. And everyone's got errors, so not all those runs are going to be earned. But they've only given up 55 runs. Granted, they could use the score some more, but what they're doing is working. So, hey, if they prove my initial prediction about them wrong, do it, okay? I personally think Craig Counsell's a little wonky with some of his decisions, but hey, if what he's doing is working, do it. In second place, there's a tie between the Cincinnati Reds and the Chicago Cubs at 9-9. 2 very different teams. The Cincinnati Reds are leading the major league. Yeah, they're leading the majors in runs scored with 111. The Red Sox are in second with 106, with 1 less game played. But yeah, no, actually the Red Sox played 1 more game. But yeah, the Reds, they're pumping it out of the park constantly. I already talked about Joey Votto's triple play. That was just cool. Seriously, that was just a cool play. But they're also on a 4-game losing streak. Mostly because their pitching just hasn't been there. And they need their pitching really bad. The Chicago Cubs, honestly, I don't think they're as good as that 9-9 record. They scored 74 runs. 12 of those were in 1 game. No, I'm not making that up. They had 1 great offensive output game, and that's it. They really have not been hitting this year at all. And their pitching really hasn't been there for them. So, honestly, I'm surprised they're 9-9. They won 3 straight. I think that's the only reason that they're at a 500 record right now, is because they had 1 good series. And I wouldn't count on them maintaining that. In 4th place, and I didn't expect to say this the whole year, Pittsburgh Pirates at 9-10. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. I think they started 1-6. So, wow, that's actually... They've won 8 of their last 12. They're, like, I've seen them play a little bit, and their best players are doing pretty well. Colin Moran has been playing pretty well. Key Brian Hayes is on the 10-day IL. And while he could come back, he's not ready yet. Apparently he re-aggravated his injury. So they're letting him have some time to rest, which is fine. He is the future of that franchise, so they need him healthy, because they need to be able to make sure that he can play all the games going forward. So yeah, but I am impressed with the Pirates so far. I don't necessarily think it's going to hold up, but they're doing pretty well. And then in last place, St. Louis Cardinals. I don't think that's going to stay that way, if for no other reason than, yeah, they're 8-10. Nolan Arendano pretty much has been their offense, because Paul Goldschmidt actually hasn't done much offensively this year. Yeah, he's had a couple of good games, but he's not been Goldie. And Nolan Arendano really has been the St. Louis Cardinals' entire offense, and they really just haven't gotten it done, and their pitching just really hasn't gotten to that point yet. Now, I haven't watched a lot of Cardinals games, so I can't tell you really anything more in depth, but their offense really hasn't been there. That's the NL Central. So wrapping that up, we got the Brewers on top, who have been very impressive. Then the Reds and Cubs. Then the Pirates in fourth. And St. Louis last. Now, moving on to the NL West, which, look, the Dodgers are in first place. They're 14-5. Who knew? Oh, wait, everyone. Yeah, they've actually lost 3 of their last 5. 2 of those losses were to San Diego. They've won every single series. They've been blowing out everybody. And Cody Bellinger is out. He could return, but he wants to give a hairline fracture time to heal. When one of your best players is out and you're still destroying everybody, is there really anything else to say? Because, yeah, their pitchers have been pitching up to standard. Having David Price in the bullpen, I think Dustin May is too. And then having all that offense do exactly what it's supposed to do. Is it any surprise? The one that is a surprise, second place, San Francisco. They're 12-7. They're the team that's really gone under the radar. Their catcher, Savelli, I think that's the guy's name, Savelli. He's caught 5 straight shutouts. When Buster Posey is not starting, the backup catcher has caught 5 straight shutouts. They've only given up 59 runs, which means that their pitching staff, that pitching staff has been doing really, really well. Because their offense has not been scoring a lot of runs. They've only got 69 runs on the year through 19 games. You don't want that. But their pitching staff has kept them in every single game, so they haven't had to score a lot of runs. They've been winning most of their games at home. They're 6-1 there, but they're playing 500 ball on the road. So really, yeah, they're quietly good right now. They are one of the teams I don't expect to hold up. Well, look out. In third place, at 11-10, the San Diego Padres. Padres fans, don't panic. First of all, you got a 500 record against the Dodgers. No one else in baseball can say that. And two, Tatis was on the 10-day IL and only recently came back. In fact, he had a really fun double play. He barely managed to drag his right foot over the bag as he was in the motion of throwing to first base on a double play. Double plays happen in almost every game. That's why I didn't bring that up earlier. But he's showing that he is still playing at his standard. His defense has actually gotten better, and his offense is still offensing. So, yeah. They're not only going to play 500 ball going forward. Joe Musgrove, while, yes, he made it clear that the game after his no-hitter, he was pretty exhausted, so he could only go four innings. He's pitched since then, and he's pitched like an ace. So they don't have to rely solely off of Yu Darvish and Blake Snell and Chris Paddock, who are pitching really well. Not fantastic, but really well. Which is also important because Dinelson Lamet just went on the IL, and I don't have details on that. It didn't sound like he was going to be back anytime soon. So, yeah. Joe Musgrove, look out for that guy. It wasn't just a no-hitter he threw. He's done well since. In fourth place, Arizona at 9-10. I didn't know this. They've scored 100 runs. Did you know that? They're on a 4-game win streak, and they've scored 100 runs this year. Through 19 games, which means they're averaging slightly over 5 runs per game. And they have the second highest scoring offense in the National League behind Cincinnati. Third highest scoring in baseball behind the Reds and the Red Sox. Now you say that, you look at that and you say, wait, then how are they below 500? That's easy, because they've given up 103. I'm double checking this real fast. And the answer is yes. They have given up the most runs of anyone in Major League Baseball. 103. They have not been good pitching. The offense is only going to be able to keep them up for so long. If their pitching remains that bad, it's only going to get worse. Though I don't expect them to hit rock bottom, because rock bottom goes to the Rockies. Yeah, Colorado, 6-12 record. Their offense, it's been good enough to get those 6 wins. Their pitcher, Gomber, he's actually pitched pretty well. Keep your eye on him, because he's actually pitched pretty well. I haven't watched the Rockies a lot lately. In fact, I haven't really watched them since the first week of the year. I think I might have watched them like a couple of days after that. But keep your eye on Gomber, because he's actually pitched pretty well. It's not going to be one of those, or if he keeps pitching the way he is, he'll probably go to the All-Star game. Not because the Rockies have to have a representative, but because he legitimately earned his spot at the All-Star game. So, yeah, look out for him. And wrapping up the National League West, Dodgers in first, go figure. San Francisco Giants in second. San Diego Padres in third. Arizona Diamondbacks fourth. And Colorado Rockies fifth. This is the only division in baseball where no one is within 4 games. Sorry, where there are teams outside of 4 games of first place. When you got a team that's blowing everybody out, that happens. Because the NL Central, everyone's within 3. Whereas the National League West, there's only one team within 3, and that's San Francisco. The Rockies are 7.5 out. So that is me breaking down Major League Baseball this week. And those are my thoughts. And if you'd like to let me know your thoughts, you can do so down in the comments below. Or if you're listening on my podcast, you can come on over to my YouTube channel and let me know down in the comments below. Or you can let me know on Twitter, @AdamOBaseball, or @AdamOBaseball1. With that being said, thank you for listening. Cheers until next time.